welcome to this edition of Mikey's Saturday Nightmares. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We've actually gained another subscriber, so we're slowly moving up. Welcome to the new subscriber. I hope you like the content. Tell your friends about us. And thank you to all of you that have stuck with me through everything and stayed as a subscriber since day one. Thank you all very much. Now, on today's episode, we're going to talk about a film that came out in 1987, November 21st of 1987 to be exact, and it was directed by a fellow by the name of Tom Daly, and he was an actor turned director. This was his directorial debut, and he played in one film, and it was called Hard Skills. And he played the character of Uncle Roman in that film. And he went on to direct the music video Julie Brown, The Homecoming Queen's Got a Gun. Now, I'm not familiar with Hard Skills, and to my knowledge, as far back as I can remember, I don't think I've ever seen that Julie Brown video. So, don't know. But the movie that we're going to talk about today is called The Outing. And this was a film that, like I said, it came out in 1987. And it has a cult following. But it didn't get very good reviews when it first came out. The cult following came later on after it was released to VHS. And I think later on it came out on like a DVD format. And it got reviews from that from fans of the genre. Now, the film stars Deborah Winters, and she plays the character of Eve Farrell. And she's also played in such films as Class of 44 from 1973. And she also played in a film entitled Blue Sunshine from 1977. And she also played in Tarantulas, the Deadly Cargo from 1977 as well. Now, I haven't seen Class of 44 or Blue Sunshine, but I have seen Tarantulas, the Deadly Cargo. It was a good movie. It was a decent, creature feature, I guess as you call it. It was decent. It was decent for the time period. And the film also stars James Hudson, who plays Dr. Wallace, and he's also played in such films as Second Sight from 1989, and that was the comedy with John Larroquette and Bronson Pinchot. And that movie was fantastic. That movie was funny. It's one of my favorite comedies. And he also played in the movie Powder from 1995. And he played in the autobiography Ray in 2004. Now, I have not seen Ray. That's one of those movies that I've wanted to watch, but still haven't watched it. I have seen Powder, and I think I've watched it maybe once or twice. It's a good movie. It is a good movie. But like I said, Second Sight, great comedy film. I thought it was hilarious. Mainly because of Bronson Pinchot. And the movie also stars Danny Daniels, who plays the character of Dr. Bressling. Dr. Bressling. And he also played in such films as Naked Gun, 33 and a Third from 1994. And he also played in the film Retribution from 1987. And he also played a Wachito witch doctor in Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls from 1995. What can you say about Naked Gun, 33 and a Third? All those films are great. Of course, there again, what can you say about Ace Ventura? Because both those films are fantastic. But I have not seen Retribution. Like I said, it's a 1987 science fiction horror type film. I don't recognize the title. I may have already seen it, but I just don't recognize the title. I'm going to check it out and see if I can find it and try to watch it and see if I've seen it before or not. All right, so the plot for this film is a group of high schoolers decide to stay in a natural museum after closing hours, but a newly acquired and mysterious lamp hiding a deadly force will turn their fun into horror. All right, with that being said, let's check out the trailer for The Outing. Let's get it.
Since the beginning of time, man has been fascinated by the mysterious, the unexplained, the unknown. Consider, if you will, the legend of the lamp.
Looks like something out of Arabian Nights. Oh, is it okay if I open it?
No, honey, I wish you wouldn't.
But think twice before you make a wish.
One thing, though, about the warning on the inscription.
What's that?
The former owner should have read it.
You've uncovered another King Tut's curse, huh?
For within it lurks the unleashed power of death and destruction. It can take any form. Strike any time. Anywhere. Alex knows.
I don't think I like this.
Quit worrying. You will before the night's over.
And soon her friends will too.
I guess you've got us into Miss Wallace.
What's the matter? Afraid?
That there is no way on Earth
Something's wrong.
to put an end to the terror.
What can you do?
Got to be an answer here.
But what is it? This can't be happening.
The lamp. Make a wish if you dare.
All right, that was the trailer for the 1987 film The Outing. This is an enjoyable, cheesy B movie from the 80s. Granted, the acting could use a little work, but the formula is an old one. But the gore effects stand out, and the sheer 80ness of the piece shines through. Shines through. Yeah, I mean, the acting's kind of blah blah, but it's a good formula to the film. The kill scenes are pretty graphic for that time period, and some of them are some pretty cool kills. At less than 90 minutes, it's short enough that it's to the point and has slightly more going on than one may think. With love triangles, romance, an evil djinn, sex, death, demonic possession, and there's even an opera singing security guard. Stick around for the end credits as they finish. See. Now the version that I watched, I found it on YouTube, the full length movie. It did have subtitles, but the movie was in English. The subtitles were in a different language. There's a difference in footage in between the version that I watched, which I don't know, it was not released in the U.S., I do not believe, because the U.S. version was cut back some. So there was some stuff in this film when I watched it the other night that I had not seen, which was pretty cool. But there is like I said, there's an opera singing security guard in there, and he does a little salute at the end of the film, which is pretty cool. The camera angles from the perspective of the djinn as it floats along in the museum are well shot. The best camera view, though, is the scenes from the inside, apparently from inside the lamp, as the djinn is trapped in the lamp. Those are pretty cool shot. If you're a fan of slasher films, I would add this to your collection. It's unique in its own way, and probably one of the only slasher films with a killer genie in it, at least until Wes Craven's Wishmaster. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I may be wrong on that, but don't quote me. Movies like these are great, are a great way to relax, especially after on a lazy Saturday when you just want something to watch. Like I said, the acting is subpar at best, but the kills are fantastic. There are one of the kills in the film. I'll give you this one. Is probably one of the cooler ones I thought. Was a guy being pulled into a ceiling fan. But there's some pretty neat kills in this film. So if you're a fan of the slasher kill type films, this is for you. Because I love these type films. I really do. I enjoy these type films. The budget for the film was $2 million. Then that's estimated, and it only grossed $1,083,395. So it wasn't well received in theaters, but like I said, it developed a cult following after its VHS release, and it got out to more people that way. There was two different versions of the film. One was released later in the U.S., the earliest version being released in, I think, the UK and Germany. And then it was later released in the U.S. So there's two different versions of the film. Like I said, the version I found on YouTube was the version that was not released in the U.S., so it had the extra stuff in it, which was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool little spiel, to catch that. Because it'd been so long since I watched it, I'm pretty sure that I had not seen some of those scenes before. That they had been, added in from the version or whatever they put on YouTube was pretty cool. The special effects in the film were okay. They weren't terrible. Now, as far as the look of the gin, I guess it was okay for that time period. You don't really delve too much into reality when you're watching films like these. That's why you watch films, is to escape reality. So a lot of the B movies that I've seen or that I've watched, I just kind of let reality just fall to the wayside and just watch the film for what it is, which is pure entertainment, or at least attempts to be pure entertainment. So, and this is one of those films, like I said, it's a B film. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was enjoyable. And I hope if you haven't seen it that you'll at least give it a try, because it deserves a first watch and even a second or a third watch. So it's just one of those that I've really enjoyed over the years, and just wanted to bring it back into the limelight if possible. Okay, so now a little bit of trivia on the film. There wasn't much, but I did dig some stuff out. Now the outing also is also known as the lamp. Like I said earlier, it had a different name. It was originally titled The Lamp, but then they changed it when they released it in the U.S. to The Outing. Not only was Deborah Winters associate producer on the film, but she would appear several times in the movie. In the opening scene as the Arab lady at the start of the film, and then again as the elderly Arab lady in prosthetic makeup to make her look aged, and then again as Eve Farrell. So she had two roles in the film. She played an Arab lady, and then she played an elderly Arab lady, and then Eve Farrell. So she basically played the same lady twice in the film. Let's see what else we got here. Released directly to video in the UK and West Germany. So it didn't even come out in theaters in West Germany and the UK. It just went straight to video. I don't know if that's how it was here in the States too. I'm assuming it probably was. just strictly just straight out to VHS, I assume. This was Damon Merrill's debut. Now, I think Damon Merrill's character is one of the bullies in the movie. I'm not sure. I didn't look it up to see who he was. I should have. Pardon that I didn't. I'm sorry. But I think he was one of the bullies. There was two bullies in this film, and I think he was the lead bully in this movie. The body count is 16 total. Spoiler, if you don't count the gin. If you count the gin, then it's 17. But the body count is 16. The movie was primarily shot on location in Houston and Galveston, Texas. The main museum scenes were filmed at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. This was the only feature film directed by Tim Daly. It is also the only movie role for Andrea St. Ivania, who played Alex. She did fairly well in this film with what she was given. I could have sworn when I watched this film that I have seen her play in some other stuff. And it's probably been like made for TV stuff because this was her only major film role. So it was probably some made for TV stuff. But she did very well in this film. I was thoroughly surprised with her character in this film. The voice of the Djinn was provided by Jackson Bostwick, known for his role as Captain Marvel / Billy Batson in the Shazam TV series. Now, this series was, I think it was late 70s, early 70s. It was in the 70s, we'll put it that way. I watched it as a child, as a kid, so yeah, it was at least after 72 when I was watching that. That's pretty cool. I didn't know who voiced the Jinn. I just thought maybe it might have been like computer generated or something like that. So that's pretty cool to know that. Here we go. This movie was released on September 11th of 1987 in the U.S. with about 2 minutes of minor cuts and a different opening score. The British version, VHS version, features a 3-minute pre-title sequence that was trimmed from the North American home video release. Okay, so the footage that I watched in the film that I found on YouTube, the copy of it I found on YouTube, was the British version. It had to be. Because the U.S. version did not have the first 3 minutes of the film. In the first 3 minutes of the film, if you watch it on YouTube, or you have the British version or the not the U.S. version, you see the Arab lady on a ship or at a dock with the lamp, and she's killed. And there is I think it's a ship captain or the dock captain. He's killed. And then the little Arab daughter grabs the lamp and the bracelet that goes with it. In the U.S. version, you don't see that. So that's the difference in between that and, well, of course, and I think the music score was different. So if you see that scene at the start of the film, then you are not watching the United States version, which is the better version. The British version is the better version, in my opinion. So, just a heads up on that, because that's what threw me when I watched it the other night off of YouTube, was that scene at the start, because I didn't remember seeing that before. And it added, excuse me, and it added a little bit more ambiance, or kind of like a backstory to the lamp and the bracelet and that kind of thing. So it was a pretty cool little 3-minute segment there. That shouldn't have been cut out of the U.S. version. I don't know why they did that, but it shouldn't have been. It should have been left in there because it made more sense that way. Um, like I said, this is a great film. If you're into the slasher, and watch the slasher films for the kills more than the acting. This is one of those films that I thoroughly enjoy because of the ambiance of the film. I don't think they could have picked a better spot to shoot the film, but in order for it to take place in a museum, the way that the plot was wrote out to be, they picked the perfect museum to do that. The lighting was done well. There was a lot of dark shaded areas, throughout the film that added to the ambiance of the film. The kills were uniquely done. The special effects were pretty cool for that time period, as far as the kills go. Um, the I liked what was her name? I forgot what her name was. What was her name? Pardon me while I make all that racket. Um, where did I see her name? Anyway, I like the daughter. The daughter that ended up, whose dad runs the museum. She did very well in this film. I mentioned her name a while ago, but I done forgot what it was. She did very well in this film, as far as being portraying the need to be scared when she needed to be. She did very well with that. Very well with that. I was surprised. Some of the other characters in the film, yeah, they were okay. They were okay. But this film deserves to be watched. If you've never seen it before, definitely give it a watch. I'm sure you'll find something about it that you like. So it's not a total waste of time like some of the other bullcrap, that's been put out here lately. A lot of the newer stuff that's out now that's B rated, I example, Sharkenstein, really? I mean, some of this stuff is just so far fetched. It is so stupid. But every once in a while, there's a hidden gem that comes to the surface. For the 80's, this was one of my hidden gems. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Let me know what you thought of this film if you've seen it before down in the comment section below. Is it a hidden gem or is it a dud, in your opinion? And let me know why. I don't, we're not gonna argue about it or anything. We're just gonna debate. And your comments on these videos are just as important as any comment that I make on these videos. So let me know what you thought of this movie down below. If you've seen it before, if you haven't, let me know what you think about it after you watch it. If you decide to watch it, let me know what your thoughts are on the trailer. I mean, is it one of those films that you would gravitate to watch or not? So with that being said, we're going to end the video here. There will be a classic movie buffet theater to come out on Wednesday, and I'll have another good movie out for you on that day. And then we'll be back again next Saturday for another episode of Mikey's Saturday Nightmares. So until then, have a good week, folks, and take care. Bye-bye.